Welcome back to another Walsall Rewind, where this time around myself and Paul will be looking back at the month of October, where the Saddlers were in action 5 times in League Two, staying at second in the league. As well as looking back at these games, we'll also be looking at things that have been going on elsewhere at the football club across the different departments. Might as well jump straight into the games as we always do, Paul. Right back to the start of October, the first day of October. Is there a worse way to start a month than with a 6-2 defeat at home?
Oh, let's get it out of the way, get over and done with. Yeah, Fleetwood. I was so obviously we'll talk about this slightly later. Obviously, we had the international break in October, where we had a bit of a week off. So I felt September was a really taxing month, a good month because the results were very good. But it was a bit of a taxing month, with the two Bristol Street Motors Trophy games, some league games, and then the Leicester game in the Carabao Cup. So it particularly ended with a busy week. I think with Leicester, and then the Colchester game, and then going into that Fleetwood game. So it was a busy month and then a busy week that would have taken a lot out of the lads. So I was sort of thinking just if the lads can get to that international break before a natural brick wall can be hit, after a month like that. I think it was 7 or 8 games, wasn't it? So I was hoping, can we get to that international break unscathed? Just fell short, didn't we, with that Fleetwood game? I think it was just one game too many. So I think Fleetwood did quite well in the first half, and the Saddlers did well to go in at half time 2-1 up. But at 2-1 up, you're thinking, okay, we normally come on strong in the second half. So optimism going into that second half, and then they get their equaliser, and then I think from there they get another goal as well, and then before you know it, 4-2 down, and at that point Matt Sadler looked like he rolled the dice with his substitutions, didn't he? And I remember me and you being sat there looking at it, thinking, it's almost like a 4-2-4. It was really all out attack, and then I think what ended up being a bit of a big moment was Danny Johnson had a chance and hit the post and was a lick of paint at going 4-3. And I think if it does go 4-3, well, correct me if I'm wrong, Sadler, I'm pretty sure it was at 4-2, that chance. But if it goes 4-3, I think the Saddlers have their tails up, the crowd are behind them, and with all the attacking players on the pitch, you back the Saddlers to go and make it 4-4. But instead, it just hits the post, comes out, and Fleetwood go down the other end, hit us on the break and get a fifth, and then again we're still trying to score a goal, and it can happen. I think with the way we play, we do try and hurt teams. We do like to break and attack quick and break in numbers. So when you're chasing that game, I think that's what happened. We ended up chasing the game and continued to chase the game, and obviously naturally spaces are left, and Fleetwood capitalised. Fair play to him. Charlie Adam looks like he got a really good squad there, even though they've not quite had a good October since that game. But yeah, not to forget.
Yeah, it was, and I think you can have those games. I suppose with Jamie Jellis after the Grimsby game, which we'll come on to in a bit. But he said, when you've got the way we play as a team, sometimes the team is going to run out of steam. And you mentioned coming on really strong in the second half, and we score a lot of goals in the second half. Again, Grimsby is one we'll talk about in a bit, but on that occasion, it looked like we had just perhaps run out of steam. As the game went on, I think in the game, Fleetwood only had 7 shots on target, scored 6 goals. It was one of those where we've shown that we've got clinical edge in games, but they did exactly that to us in that game.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, we went into that game on the back of a 4-0 win as well. So it's always very difficult to change a winning team. Having said that, I know there was, perhaps some comments, could there have been more changes maybe before the game? But obviously, in the Leicester game prior to the Colchester game, there was a handful of changes, wasn't there? So I think the good squad that we have, is being used really well. I think, like you said, you can have those off days, you can hit that brick wall, and I think it was just a combination of a few things just all came to a head at once. But I think the most important thing, Matt Sadler always says this, it's the next thing. So the most important thing after Fleetwood, was not necessarily the results, it's how do the team react? Does it become a run? Because, that's not something we'd seen in August and September. There was no bad result, and then a couple that followed, the team bounced back straight away. So going into the next game about Chesterfield, which we'll talk about, it was, well, how's the reaction going to be? How's the response? Was it, how much of a shock to the system really was that Fleetwood result?
Yeah, and I think you talk about the bounce back, and it was going to a place like Chesterfield. It was a brand new ground for me. I don't know whether there was any Sadler's fans who made their first trip there, but for me it was one of only two in the league this year that was brand new, so it was really good to go there. And you want that, you want to show the character of the group, and there is plenty of that within it. We've seen it at the training ground every week. There's nobody getting down, there's nobody getting too high with the highs, too low with the lows, and I think it just goes to show the testament of what the group is, that nobody came in and was really, shoulders down, head down after the Fleetwood game. It was about how they'd been picked up and ready to go again into Chesterfield. And Nathan Lowe bags 2 goals in that one, and really shows, the predatory instincts that he's got with the first goal, and then the natural ability that he's got with the second one, where he takes, one touch and then it's a finish. And we see just how good a side we are by going there. And there was plenty of Chesterfield fans after the game saying that we were the best team they've seen this season, and it's not for the first time that's happened either.
No, it isn't, and other teams have said that since as well. So really tough place to go, Chesterfield. Obviously won the league at a canter in the National League, and really experienced manager in Paul Cook, who has won this division. I think with either Portsmouth or Chesterfield, I can't remember, but he's won promotions and league titles galore. So one of the toughest managers I think will come up against this season in Paul Cook. And they're riding that wave. A big crowd there. The fans are delighted to be back in the EFL, and they've got some, someone we Sadlers know very well in Will Grigg, former teammate of Matt Sadler. And if it's not working for him, only the small matter of Paddy Madden to bring on, which they did. So there's a lot of firepower to contend with as well. So I thought the lads dealt with that really well. Nathan Lowe, again, like you say, instinctive with his goals, and a real menace, a real handful. Jamil Matt involved as well, and it looks like they're forming a really good partnership, by the way, which I'm sure we'll come on to more. With what their exploits in October so far. So a lot of promise there. But I thought it was a really good reaction from the lads, and I think it was a game we actually probably should have won, because at 2-1 up, we get that, we react really well because we concede just before half time, which is, notoriously quite a bad time to concede. But to score straight away in the second half, come out, get that goal, and really, put to bed any momentum Chesterfield could have gained from their equaliser. We then had a really good spell, didn't we, for about 15 minutes of dominance. And as that goes on, you're just thinking, we really probably need to score while we're on top here, because we could put this game to bed. Didn't quite happen, and naturally I think Paul Cook made 4 substitutions, did he, all at once. And that, just what we were talking about earlier about how experienced and how good a manager he is, he was able to really wrestle back some control in that game, kill our momentum, and they got the goal. But I think from then, if either team was going to win, it was probably the Sadlers as well. So I think it was there's probably another game we'll talk about that is similar, but it was one of them where we're actually a bit disappointed to come away with a draw, which I think in previous years, in the years I've been at the club anyway, normally we go to a place like Chesterfield, a team who've come up with momentum and are wanting to get into those playoff positions, and saying draws a good result away from home, but we were probably disappointed we didn't win. So good response to Fleetwood, and plenty of green shoots from that game.
Yeah, you mentioned being disappointed with the draw, and I think coming away from it, there was the spell, with the last 5 to 6 minutes of the game where there was 2 big talking points in it. The Connor Barrett has the ball in the back of the net, but Jellish is ruled offside. Being pitch side, it looks incredibly tight. I know you were at the other end of the pitch in a commentary position at that point, but being pitch side at the end where we were shooting, it looked very, very close. And then, maybe a minute or 2 later, Jellish goes down under a challenge where he's absolutely wiped out, and Matt Sadler was right to be aggrieved not to have got the penalty. One of those go in your favour, and like you say, you're walking away then with 3 points rather than a point, and you're not disappointed with the draw then.
Yeah, and I think Chesterfield were probably quite pleased to get a point from that game, by the way, as well. Credit to them for coming from behind twice. But yeah, I thought the penalty was the standout one, obviously. He looked tight with the offside, but probably shade towards onside rather than off. But I think the penalty one looked clear cut to me. I was very surprised when that wasn't awarded. But you got to take the rough with the smooth in terms of decisions in League Two. But again, I think that's why the team took a lot of confidence from that game. I think deep down they know probably unfortunate not to win it, as well as looking at themselves in the mirror at that sort of 15-minute spell and learning from that of killing teams when you've got that momentum, if you like. So there was plenty of positives to take.
And then we go into the, a busy week, so to say, in regards to the games of Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. For us, we spoke about it a lot in the office, where we said that if we want to show, what this team's about, what we're about as a club this year, whether it's going to be one of those where you really are sort of cementing the fact that we could be challengers this year, particularly just in promotion challenges, let's say, not necessarily automatic or playoffs, whatever you want to look at it, because we're still very, very early in the season. But these 3 games of Grimsby, Carlisle, Accrington, at that point, we said, 7 points was almost a minimum. So let's start off with the Grimsby game. Go up there, scored 6 on New Year's Day, 4 this time round.
Shocking, not good enough.
And it was 4 second half goals. Jamil Mapp scoring, Jamie Jellis scoring, Nathan Lowe and DJ. At the first half, I think I messaged you and Sam to say, that wasn't very good. As if almost in the overall game, the grand scheme of things, not necessarily just from a Sadler's perspective, but from a Grimsby
spectacle as
well.
Yeah,
they had the ball but didn't really do anything with it. They passed it around the back a lot to Jackson Smith and in between the 2 centre halves. But then in the second half, the Sadlers sort of just, I think I used the phrase, they'd poked the bear with Jamil Mapp in terms of Grimsby, because there was a couple of decisions that didn't go against him, and then all of a sudden, Connor Barrett, fantastic down the right-hand side, clipped the ball into Jammer, who's bread and butter at 6 yards out to head the ball past Jackson. Then Jellis with that unbelievable goal. Then Lowe, instinctive finish again. Poacher's goal, I think that one would go down as. And then DJ coming on and making that impact. That's what the Sadlers are all about, that kind of second half performance.
Absolutely, and as we've spoken about many times, coming on strong in the second half, feeling into the game, working out the opposition. I think that's what was happening, particularly in the first 20, 25 minutes, half an hour. Look, Grimsby are a different proposition to the team on New Year's Day. Dave Artell had only been in the job about probably less than 8 weeks, probably only about 6 weeks by then. But since then, he's heavily recruited. I think there was only, in the starting 11 for Grimsby, compared to the New Year's Day game, I think there was only 1 survivor. So goes to show how much they've changed and, come on since then. And I think you can tell the blueprint was there with the way he's trying to get them to play. They like to get it on the floor, knock it about, keep possession very, very well. But yeah, I didn't feel like they were penetrating the Saddlers. I think the chances they did have came from a couple of slight sloppy moments from, the Saddlers at times in that first 20 minutes or so. But the Saddlers did find their feet, and while Grimsby were on top, the Saddlers stayed resolute. They battled really well. And I was watching that game towards the end of the first half, and I was thinking I'd like to see Connor Barrett and Liam Gordon get into this game more, because I think in the wide areas, getting balls into Grimsby box, we can cause some problems, because I think they were struggling to handle Nathan Lowe and Jamil Mapp physically, the Grimsby defence. So they were causing some problems, even if it was just with their physical presence, let alone when they did have the ball. And I want to talk about, obviously, should have been 1-0 ahead. There was a goal in the first half, and I still, having watched it back many times, I have no idea what the referee had seen. And then anyone who listened to me on commentary would have seen how flabbergasted I was that we didn't get a corner early in the second half when Liam Gordon crossed it in and there was a deflection, and how it wasn't seen, I'll never know, and it's still, to this day, I'm complaining when we're winning. But anyway, enough about that. But that's what happened. Connor Barrett and Liam Gordon both got into the game. We spoke about it as well. We felt Grimsby were perhaps vulnerable from crosses and the way the game was going. When Connor Barrett did get some joy in the first half, or when I think Liam Gordon and Charlie Lakin linked up in the first half, out wide, those areas where I felt we could hurt Grimsby. And that's what happened. Connor Barrett, the defender, don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to nutmeg him? Is he going to go inside? Is he going to get to the byline? Lovely little nutmeg, and then chips it into Jamil Matt. Like we say, bread and butter. We know if you cross the ball for Jamil Matt and give him something to attack, he's going to score goals, and that's exactly what happened. And then that was it for the Saddlers. I think it was just ruthless from there, and I think the substitution of Jack Earing made a difference as well. When he came on, I think he just drove the team forward. His energy and on the ball, that quality he's got, and it was nice to see him and Jamie Jellis both on the pitch at the same time, because quite often we've seen them sub each other, swap with each other rather than the other way around. So then I think once that happened and the Saddlers got a grip of that game, Grimsby just could not live with the Saddlers. They could not live with us at all. Then we get, obviously, Jamie Jellis. And I think you've got to praise him because I think he's anticipating the defender to play that. It's no fluke or just, obviously it's a poor mistake, but I think he knows with the way we press that we're going to force them into an error like that. So he's there ready to pounce. Lovely touch on his chest. And my God, that finish. The minute he left his boot, I knew it was in. I think he did as well. He was halfway through Cleethorpes celebrating before it even hit the net. And I've already contender for goal of the season, surely. And then, Nathan Lowe obviously gets in on the act, as we've come used to. And I was really, really pleased that George Hall not only managed to get on, but he showed a bit of sparkle, a bit of magic, because he's had a bit of a tough time coming to the Saddlers and then getting that injury against Fulham and trying to work his way back in the squad. So I was really, really pleased to see him get on there, show us what he can do as well. A little bit of magic. And who's the man you want there? You want DJ there just to nod it in from close range, get in the right position, and I'm really pleased for him as well. I think he's up to 3 goals after that one. And obviously Jamil Matt's tally's been climbing in October, so all the strikers are getting in amongst the goals, all the midfielders as well, even those on the bench are having an impact on the games as well as those who are starting, so really, really positive.
Yeah, so we started that week brightly, obviously the 4-1 win against Grimsby there, and then you come in back to the Poundland Bescott Stadium. Carlisle changed the manager to Mike Williamson, who, style of play-wise, we've already come up against. So you're thinking, will they be able to implement this? But you mentioned after the game, after the 3-1 win, that Carlisle are a side that are used to losing games at this moment in time. Having been relegated last year from League One, Williamson's doesn't feel like the man for the job there, because you need a robust manager who can get you the grind out, the 1-0 wins, the 2-1 wins. Doesn't necessarily need to go in and change an awful lot. Just needs to make a team difficult to beat, compact. But they just weren't that, were they? There was a little bit of a spell in the second half where they sort of came on, they got the goal, but never really felt like anything was going to come from it. And again, Nathan Lowe scores after 2 minutes. That was the 3rd time this season that Carlisle have conceded on the road after 2 minutes. Jelly scores, Jammer scores again. Here's one for Saddlers fans. Can you remember the last time that 3 players scored in consecutive games for the Saddlers? I think you're going to have to go back a long time there. Obviously, Jammer, Jellis and Lowe scoring in the game against Grimsby and Carlisle. But that performance again epitomised what the Saddlers are all about. Ruthless at the start of the first half, incredibly ruthless at the start of the second half as well.
Absolutely. We've got to organise a prize if anyone can find that stat out, by the way. And I think, again, crucial times to score goals. And you mentioned the way Carlisle have already conceded goals early doors in games to, obviously exploit that weakness again. Credit to Matt Sadler and his team. Really good start. And I think getting that goal early in the second half, I felt like was a real sucker punch for Carlisle, because I think Mike Williamson would have, to go 1-0 at half time, I think his team did settle and got a bit of a foothold after going 1-0 down. So his team talk was evaporated straight away again, and to go 2-0 down. And the Saddlers again coming on strong in the second half, wrestled that control, got the 3rd goal, job done. And okay, the team will be disappointed to have conceded. I think it was from a virus set piece, wasn't it, to go 3-1 and not get their clean sheet. But overall, it was probably one of the most controlled performances I've seen with and without the ball this season in terms of the whole 90 minutes. So again, really good display. And as you said, we did speak about Carlisle. You saw it with Forest Green last year. Obviously, got used to losing games in League One and carried that negative momentum in League Two, and it's really difficult to get out of. But you've got to still make sure you do your jobs, and you've got to, they still carry a threat, and at some point it is going to turn for them. We'll see what happens. I think Mike Williams is a very good manager. He's proved it against us many times. That I think we've come unstuck against these MK Dons teams a couple of times. It's not quite worked for him yet at Carlisle. As we debated whether it was the right situation to get that style of football, if you like. Only time will tell. But from a Saddler's point of view, it was another ruthless performance and building that momentum, scoring goals, showing no mercy. And again, I think it was important to get a home victory, because I think it was the first home game since that obviously Fleetwood game. So great to get the Bescott back to how we used to it being under Matt Sadler.
Yeah, you mentioned in the Grimsby game, obviously Jamie being able to anticipate, where that ball was going to land for his goal. And I think the forward run from him for the second goal for the Saddlers in that game against Carlisle epitomises what he's about as a player and why the club worked so hard to bring him in and get him back to full fitness, having had a little bit of time off last year with the injury when he came in. And he's really showing his worth to the club and what we're about as a team. The goal he scores is, a pure quality again. The run is perfectly timed. The knockdown from Jammer into him, and then his header just into the path of himself, just so he can get the ball set in front of him. And then it's an outside of the foot finish with the right foot. That's exactly what you want from an advancing 8, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And even in the first half, like the amount of ground he covers, and not just the amount, but the speed in which he does it as well. The energy, the engine he's got is unbelievable, and he sets the tone for the rest of the team as well with that intensity that he's got. And that's exactly what Matt Sadler wants from his team. The way we transition, it's with intensity, it's with purpose, and that's exactly what Jamie Jellis is all about. And like you said, he's got that quality to go with it. And I backed him as soon as he burst through, and he controlled it beautifully, and it was a hell of a finish. And because it was outside of his foot, I thought he got a lot of power on it as well. So, credit to him. He's in fantastic form, and it's been really great watching him really rubber stamp his place in this team. And he's taken EFL football like a duck to water and full time football. And we've got a hell of a player on our hands, and we've got a hell of a team on our hands as well.
Yeah, then. Final game of that week, Accrington away. Quite a tough place to go to on the whole, but looking at it this season, alright, they were, fourth bottom, I think it was, going into this game, but they'd picked up some really good results in recent weeks. I think it was 3 wins out of 4 in League 2. I think they'd only lost 1 game at home in the league so far this season. So you go in there and you look at it and you're thinking, okay, this could be a much tougher game than what people are perhaps letting on for. And if you've not looked at their results, you'd only looked at the table, you might think, okay, yeah, this should be a pretty much walk in the park for the Saddlers, but it wasn't. They were a completely resolute team, weren't they? And at 0-0, I think that's what the Saddlers again disappointed not to walk away with all 3 points. Nathan Lowe having arguably the most clear-cut chance of the game, and he'll be incredibly disappointed with the form that he's in, not to have scored his 9th goal of the season in all competitions. But the clean sheet, 2 fantastic saves from Tommy from a long throw. I think it's the first phase where the ball bounces just in front of him, he can parry it out, and then the second phase, somebody has the shot and he makes a great save with I think it's with his left leg in the end. But I think to take 7 points from this week is something that the Saddlers can be proud of as well.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. Like we said, there's no gimmies in League 2, no matter what. And as much as we're enjoying where the Saddlers are in the league table, I think how many managers will tell you at this stage of the season they don't look at the league table, and I think that's testament. I think Accrington are an example of that. They'd won 3 on the bounce, like you said, and then that 4th game was Tuesday night when we played Carlisle. They played MK Dons, lost 2-1, but if you look at the stats of that game, I think they were a bit unfortunate not to come away with something. They really had a good go there, so even in games they've not been winning, they've been performing well, and again, tight games, fine margins. So Accrington's always a tough place to go, no matter what. It's an open ground there, tight pitch. Although the pitch looked very good actually on Saturday, must be said. And I want to give them a shout. I thought it was one of the friendliest clubs we visited. Really nice people up there, and wish them all the best. But I think Matt Sadler knew it was going to be a tough game as well. I think when we looked at it as well, that block of 3, we looked at it, that'll be the toughest of the 3 going to Accrington Stanley. Obviously, no disrespect to the other 2 teams, but I think it's a testament to what Accrington are like at home. And I thought the Saddlers acquitted themselves really well. Probably should have won the game, a bit like Chesterfield in a way. Had the better chances. I think the Tommy Simkin save you allude to is the only chance of note they had for me. That the only time I think Tommy Simkin was called upon. Perhaps the Saddlers would have liked to have tested Krellin more, even though he did get man of the match. And I've said during my co-commentary about 5 minutes before it was awarded, I think he's really putting his hand up for that man of the match award. Was Krellin. It wasn't just shots that he had to save, but the way when we were putting him under a lot of pressure, he was on the front foot, coming out to clear the ball. He was coming out to punch the ball away. Got some fouls in his favour as well. So I think when the goalkeeper's man of the match, that tells you the story of the game. I thought a close second to him was Farron Rawson. I thought the way he dealt with Jamil Matt and marshalled him, it was a really interesting battle to watch. And I think there was it was almost like they doubled up with Al Jafri as well. And they sort of worked in tandem really well to nullify the threat of Jamil Matt, who, I think that's a credit to Jamil Matt that so many defenders occupy him and managers are so focused on stopping him. And I think you got to credit Accrington for how they were defensively, but we were solid as well. And I think a clean sheet was most welcome. I think it was 4 without a clean sheet before that one, so we'll take the clean sheet, we'll take the points. 7 points from any sort of Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday week. Every manager, I think, will take that in the EFL, won't they? So, really good platform to build on going into November.
Yeah, definitely. And I think in that month of October, 11 goals scored. Don't even really think we need the discussion as to what goal is going to win goal of the month. And I think we're both going to be agreeing on this one. But
what DJ's at Grimsby?
But Nathan Lowe's, it was even closer. Yeah. But the Jamie Jellish goal against Grimsby has to win it, doesn't it?
Just play it now. Just keep playing it over and over. Everyone will want to watch it again. It was outrageous. That's Jamie Jellish. So congratulations on your goal of the month award. Easiest one of the season.
Yeah, that's our vote. We think you guys will probably agree with us as well. But you can now go and vote for your goal of the month over on our social media pages. We'll pick 4 from the 11 goals that we've scored in October. So make sure you head over, particularly to our X page. That's where you'll be able to vote for your goal of the month for October. Paul, before we get on to things elsewhere at the football club, there were 3 players who hit landmarks in the month of October. Jack Earing and Liam Gordon both hitting 100 appearances, which is an unbelievable milestone. And then David Cagbury making his 50th. Those achievements, those landmarks of appearances, fantastic for all 3.
Yeah, congratulations to all 3. Very pleased for all of them, thoroughly deserved. But I want to talk about Jack Earing because obviously I think he probably would have liked it to have come earlier. Obviously he's in his 4th season now, but given the absolutely awful injuries and horrendous luck he's suffered with injuries, it's been a really tough time, from his sort of 2nd season, I think, when he got the first really bad one, and then the back end of last season. So either side of his really bad knee injury, he's had a few injuries that have really halted his progress, if you like. But I've been really impressed with him this season. He's coming on games, he's having an impact. He got his goals against Colchester, and I think we haven't got another player like Jack Earing and what he brings to this team and his quality on the ball. So, really pleased to see him make 100 appearances for the Saddlers, and I just hope there's many, many more to come. Liam Gordon as well, he's probably Mr. Consistent, isn't he? One of the most 7 out of 10 every week type player, and I love seeing his marauding runs down that left wing. I'm so used to it, and more often than not he beats his man, gets you on the edge of the seat. So again, really pleased he's made 100 appearances for us. And as for Dave, I've got a big soft spot for David Cagbu. Again, the way he's come into the team, the way he's grown in his whole time with the Saddlers has been fantastic to watch. And again, 50 appearances, sure there's many, many more to come. So well done to the 3 of them.
Yeah, definitely. Big Dave, big fans of his in the comms department. So, like Paul says, congratulations to the 3 of those for hitting those milestones in October, and hopefully many more appearances for the 3 of them to come. Elsewhere at the football club, I've mentioned on the last episode of the Rewind, but the conference and events team still have some availability for our brilliant Christmas nights in December. And we're really looking forward to welcoming everybody who has already purchased tickets for our Christmas with the Players Evening. Following the success of the night last year, this year we're hoping that even more Saddlers fans will come along to the event on Thursday the 12th of December. If you're interested, head over to our e-ticketing website or call the conference and events team for more information on that night. There are also tickets available for a comedy evening with Black Country comic Johnny Cole, who will be live in the locker after our game against Barrow on Saturday the 14th of December. Tickets are just £10 for anyone who's planning to come to that fixture, or £12 for others. In the commercial department, Adam and Kerry would like to say a huge thank you to Goals, who recently came on board as the club's official academy training partner. We've also got availability for hospitality for a number of our games coming up, both pre and post Christmas and into the new year as well. If you would like to inquire about our hospitality packages and sponsorship packages, please visit our website and head to the commercial page for more information. In the club shop, we're pleased to confirm that we now have the home shirts and the away shirts back in stock, both online and in store. Our retail team would like to thank everyone for their patience whilst we waited for these to be restocked, and for everybody who's since purchased a shirt. Paul, back into football matters. Over to you with an update on things that have been happening in the academy and with the women's team.
Yeah, busy month for both. So let's start with the academy. I think by the time this is out on our YouTube channel, they will have played the FA Youth Cup game against Chesterfield, which took place on Tuesday, the 29th of October. So if you want to look for the result for that, it was covered on our academy Twitter page, and there should be now a match report live on saddlers.co.uk. So take a look there to find out how they got on in the FA Youth Cup. Always a very big one for our under-18s. But in terms of the league, bit of a crazy spell. They've had back-to-back 3-3 draws against Grimsby. Played the same day we played. The first team played Grimsby, of course, and Doncaster. So in the Grimsby game, Caden Bennett, Jakub Pawlowski and Jay Layden got the goals. And in the game against Doncaster, it was Jackson Priest, Will Everidge and Jay Layden got another one in that game as well. So Jay Layden in really good form for the under-18s. Prior to the Grimsby match, there was a 2-0 defeat to Coleshill, who were a senior side, of course, in the Walsall Senior Cup. So, tough test against a men's team. But just a 2-0 defeat there. And after speaking to Ryan Simmons, he said he was really proud of the way the team acquitted themselves. Actually had a couple of chances and just fell short on the night. So, lots going on in the academy. So, moving on to the women's team, of course, we had a fantastic occasion here, didn't we? Where Walsall women played Gornal here at the Poundland Bescot Stadium. A 4-0 victory under the lights in front of a fantastic crowd of 741. Sanya Najib and Mia Fellows both got a brace on what was just a wonderful occasion, and that was in a cup competition. I think the Birmingham FA Women's Vars, so progress in a cup competition. They were due to play Leek on Sunday the 27th of October. However, it was postponed due to player unavailability from Leek's point of view. So their next outing in the league will be away at Newcastle Town Ladies this Sunday. So good luck to Walsall women for that game, and keep on top of everything on our social media channels.
Yeah, thanks for that update, Paul. And like you say, it was a great occasion to have the women's team here at the Poundland Bescot Stadium. Fingers crossed, that might be something that we can see again in the near future. It may be in 2025 at the second half of the season. So, thanks to everybody who came down for that night. It really was a special evening for everybody involved there. Going into November now, Paul, as we always do at the end of a Rewind episode, we look at what's coming up for us. 6 games across 3 different competitions. Starting this coming weekend, we welcome League One side Bolton Wanderers to the Poundland Bescot Stadium in the first round of the FA Cup. Coming out for more cup magic against the side in the division above?
Well, we've got a good record against League One teams this season, haven't we? So fingers crossed we can keep that up. But I think Bolton, they're currently 9th in League One, but they've been in decent form recently. I think the only blot was a defeat to Birmingham City. I think around that it was 4 wins and a draw apart from that. So after what looked like a difficult start to the season from, I think Ian Evans managed to turn it around, and that'll be a tough game. It'll be a very tough game. They've got some really good players, and there's a reason they were one of the bookies' favourites at the start of the season to be promoted alongside the likes of Birmingham City. So really tough game. Should be a fantastic crowd. Great price tickets, £10. So if you're looking to bring someone along, it should be great to get a really big crowd here and back the boys for an FA Cup. And I absolutely love the FA Cup. I always look forward to it every year. Can always spring up a surprise or a trip to a non-league team or ground we'd never probably have dreamed of going, and as that romance, doesn't it? We had a great trip to Southampton last year as well. Really enjoyed that. So hopefully the Saddlers can go on a little cup run and hopefully get that reward of a fantastic tie. We've seen how the Carabao Cup run galvanised everyone with the comeback against Exeter, the comeback against Huddersfield, Josh Gordon's penalty recovery, and then a really good game against Leicester City where we drew with the Premier League side. So it can give you a lot of confidence. So I'm sure a result against Bolton could do that. So really looking forward to that. And then there's some massive games coming up in the league, isn't there? Really, really difficult games. And I think by the time we do the next rewind, I think we'll have a really good idea of what the Saddlers are fighting for this season.
Yeah, before we look at those league games, you mentioned the cup prices for the game against Bolton. The club obviously understands that I think it's a run of 4 home games in there if the Gillingham game goes ahead. So, we really understand that, it puts a lot of pressure on fans to pay that money out to constantly come to games. So it was a pricing strategy that was really looked at by the football club to ensure that as many, hardcore fans that are here every week, as many casual fans who might come to half of the games in the season, or those that might just come to 1 or 2, that this is a game that, they can come to, they can hopefully afford to come to. And like I said, the FA Cup captures a lot of people, doesn't it? It's a competition that's, up and down the country, up and down the football pyramid, whether you're the lowest team left in it or the highest placed team left in it. It's a competition that everybody looks forward to. And we've seen what it was like for us last year with those games that we had that eventually got us to Southampton, which, albeit the loss on the day was a fantastic, outing for everybody. The experience was something that we've not necessarily experienced from a media point of view. But fingers crossed we get to see as many people here at the Poundland Bescott Stadium on Saturday, because we've seen just how important the fans are for us, haven't we?
Absolutely, and we've seen those away followings tick up as well. 747 to Accrington, for example. Well, that is absolutely incredible. So credit to everyone who went. And yeah, the crowd's here. When this crowd is behind us and loud, and there's a reason why so many teams have turned us to be so that we're shooting in front of the Poundland stand in the first half. There's an actual reason for that. So teams can give you that bit of fear factor when the stadium is full and bouncing. So encourage everyone to get down here for that FA Cup game and all our league games, of course. And obviously we've got the Bristol Street Motors game against Shrewsbury. Really important to find out our fate in that competition. Looking really good to progress in that one. So be great to see the Saddlers fighting on 3 fronts as well. That can only breed confidence.
Yeah, and then obviously the league games, we've got Crewe, who are currently 5th in the league. Gillingham, if that one goes ahead, we're unsure yet just in regards to who, if anybody, will go on international duty. Wimbledon, Bromley in there as well, which is one of the rearranged games from the previous international break. If you play those games, like you say, you could have a real strong picture as to what the league table's looking like when we redo this at the end of the month.
That's it. Yeah, I think you'll have a better idea of what you're fighting for by the end of November. The league, I wouldn't say fully settles down, but I think you're 3 or 4 months in by then, and you've got an idea of who's been consistent so far, and perhaps point gaps are starting to creep up slightly. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Saddlers come out of November. Could come out of November in a really strong position in the league and progressed in 2 competitions. So much to look forward to. I know Matt Sadler and all the boys are just excited and just want to get on to the next game. So all focus now is on Bolton.
Yeah, it is. And obviously you've mentioned the Bristol Street Motors game there. We'll potentially find out our fate, before this has gone out, because obviously Birmingham City and Fulham under-21s play on the Tuesday. But the Saddlers welcome Shrewsbury for the final game of that, hoping to secure our knockout place. We've had a really good go in that competition so far. The game against Birmingham City was a fantastic one for the club. Obviously the draw and then the penalty shootout win, the win over Fulham as well, puts us in a really strong position to hopefully get us into that knockout phase.
Yeah, 5 points on the board. I think, if memory serves me, you want to finish top and then you guarantee a home tie in the knockout round. So important game against Shrewsbury. So looking forward to that one. And yeah, I think it's since 2021 was the last time we got out the group. So I think getting out the group's important. It'd be nice to have a little go in that competition as well.
Yeah. So that was us covering off the month of October and then looking ahead to what we've got going into November as well. As always, thank you very much for joining us here on the Walsall Rewind. We have got plenty of other exclusive content if you want to go and check it out over on our TikTok page, including our media away days, where we show you a little bit behind the scenes as to what we do on a particular away day, match day. So if you want to go and check that out, check us out on TikTok over there. There's plenty of other different things on there as well. But again, thank you very much for joining us on the Walsall Rewind. We'll see you back here for the November episode, and fingers crossed the Saddlers will still be in 2 cup competitions and still firmly placed within the automatic promotion places come the end of those games. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.